Welcome back, everyone. In this lecture, we're going to go over the solutions for the Pandas exercise questions. Let's get started. All right, the first thing we wanted to do was import Pandas. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll import Pandas as PD. And then the next thing we want to do was read in that bank.csv file that's located under the same crash course Pandas folder that we're currently in. Since this notebook is in the same location, all I had to do is say df is equal to PD, read CSV, and then read in bank.csv. And you should always be able to tab autocomplete that. To show the first 5 rows of the data set, you simply need to call head, and that will show it to you. Another method of doing this is by saying .iloc and performing a slice notation. You could say everything from the beginning and then up to but not including index 5. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up to but not including 5. So different ways you could have done that. Head's probably the easiest. Next, we asked you what is the average or mean age of the people in the data set. So notice we have an age column already, so all we need to do is say df age and then call .mean method off of this, and we get 41.17. Next task was what is the marital status of the youngest person in the data set? And there's a little hint here that links you to this IDX min, which gives you and returns the index of the minimum. So what we want to do is figure out, well, who's the youngest person in the data set? So we'll go ahead and find the youngest person first. We'll say df age dot idx min. And we figure out that at index 503, we have the youngest person. So let's go ahead and then find out that person's age. So we'll say iloc at 503, run that, and we get back that the youngest person is 19 years old. Now keep in mind, there could be multiple people that are 19 years old in this data set. So let's go ahead and explore that by saying df age equal to 19, and we'll filter by that. And we actually have a couple of people. So notice there's 4 people that are 19. However, luckily for us, they all have the same marital status of single. So then what we can do is we can just say off this original df age and then say at iloc 503, go ahead and give me back their marital status. And whoops. We want to get this off just df, run that, and returns back single. So we can see here, all the youngest people in the data set that are 19 years old, they're all single. Okay, so next we asked how many unique job categories are there? So we just want how many unique job categories there are. To do this, you can simply use the method of n unique, make sure we spell this right, n unique, and this returns back the number of unique categories within df job. Next, we asked how many people are there per job category, and one easy way to do this is with value counts. So you can say df job and call value underscore counts, and this is essentially doing a group by along with an additional count, and we get back the number of people per category, essentially counting up how many rows are there per category in this job. Next was what percent of people in the data set are married? So to do this, we first need to figure out, well, how many people are married. So what we're going to do here is we'll say the following. We'll say df, and then we'll say marital, and we'll grab value counts. So then note here we have 2,797,000 people are married. And if we actually just want to grab that number directly, we can get married. Again, there's many, many different ways you can do this. And then we want the percentage, so we simply divide this by the number of people in the data frame, which is the length of the data frame. And to get the percentage, we times it by 100. And we get back around 61.86% of the people are married. The next task was to map a 0 and 1 to this new column called default code. So if we take a look at that default, we get back no's, and eventually you'll see a yes somewhere around here. Yep, there's a yes. So let's go ahead and map this. And the way we can do that is we can say .map, and we pass in a dictionary of the mapping we want. You can check out these 2 links in case you want more information on that. But we simply say no is going to be a 0 using a dictionary, and yes is going to be a 1. So after running that, we end up getting this mapping. And if we want to set it to a new column, we can simply say default code as our new column and assign that to the result of this mapping function. So that when I check out the head of my data frame and I scroll all the way to the right, I should now be able to see this new default code column. The next task was to use pandas.apply method in order to create a new column called marital code that simply contains that first letter of the marital status. So lots and lots of different ways you can do this one. To do it with a simple lambda expression, you simply have to figure out, well, what lambda expression will return back the first letter? And that's going to be something like lambda status and then status 0. And recall with lambda expressions, this is just a variable that you can call whatever you want. This essentially will just return back the first letter of that string. You could, if you want, use an entire function that you can apply with. So for example, you could have also said def first letter, and it takes in some status, and then return first letter, return status 0. So that's the exact same thing what this lambda expression is doing. Either way, we want to apply this to the df marital column. So we say, go ahead and apply this lambda expression, and if you run that, you get back this column we wanted to have. So we can say df of marital code. So we can go ahead and say marital code is equal to df marital, and then we apply this, and if we check out df head now and scroll all the way to the right, we see this new marital code. And if you decided to go with a function like this with first letter, you would simply just need to say something like marital and then just say apply first letter. And if you run that, you'll get back the same result. And there we can see the output. All right, so coming back down, next question, what was the longest lasting duration? So if you see over here, we have a duration period. To get the max one, that's pretty easy. You just simply say df duration dot max, and then we get back 3025. Next task was, what is the most common education level for people who are unemployed? Lots of different ways you can get this one, but one way to do it is by saying, go ahead and filter out everybody that's unemployed. So we'll say df job is equal to unemployed, and we'll grab that part of the data frame. So now everyone here in this sub data frame is unemployed. And then here I'm just going to grab the education column. So now I have a list of their educations. And what I can do here, lots of different ways I could do this, but one quick and easy way is to just grab value counts from this, run that, and I get back the value counts here: secondary, tertiary, primary, and unknown. And I can see here the most common one is secondary education. Okay, so we'll go ahead and then scroll down here. And finally, what is the average age for being unemployed? Well, we're going to do the same thing as far as filtering for unemployed. So we'll grab that column where everyone's unemployed, but then what we're going to do here is grab age off of this and then grab the mean, and we get back the mean age of 40.9. Okay, if you have any questions on this, make sure to refer to our solutions notebook from the zip file. Thanks, and we'll see you at the next lecture.